So my message to the small older farmers is that the food security of our country is dependent on you.
We as a Kenyan government would like to value all the collaborations we can do with you so that we make Kenya food secure.
We are healthy because of what you do every day in a small way.
Our dear farmers, you are the hope of our future. Our food, our nutrition lies in your hands.
They have to make sure they plant feeds in their farms so that they can minimize the cost that they are using.
I appeal to you to join cooperative and enhance your production.
And make sure that as you grow the food you have, you protect and maintain your environment.
My message to farmers is to adopt sustainable farming practices like agroecological practices that enhance resilience and sustainability of our agri-food systems.
Tuzingatie chakula yenye haina kemikali.
Ukulima yani agriculture iko na pesa. So tuingie kwa ukulima kwa wakulima wangu wadogo.
Ukuwe na chakula ya kutosha na pia chakula ambayo inastahili iingie kwa mwili zetu.
Let's join hands. Let's improve the living standard of our farmers.
So that at the end of the day, they have a bigger production.
Let's embrace agriculture. Let's practice conservation agriculture.
Just keep producing, and together we shall do it.
Believe me, if there's one country that can do it, it's Kenya.
In Kenya, we trust the land to provide. But millions of Kenyans still struggle to access the nutritious food they need. This is not just an issue of hunger, but an issue of rights. The right to food, which ensures health, opportunity, and equity for all. Every year on October 16th, we come together to celebrate World Food Day, a day that reminds us of our fundamental right to food, a right that is crucial for a better life and a sustainable future. This year's theme, Right to Foods for a Better Life and a Better Future, emphasizes the importance of sustainable practices like agroecology in ensuring food justice for every Kenyan. In Nandi County, we meet with Governor Stephen Sang. As a leader committed to food security, he understands the vital role of agroecology.
Our intention also is to support our farmers to diversify into various value chains beyond the traditional value chains that we have had in Nandi for a long time. Examples is venturing into high value crops, coffee, avocado, tea, and the reason is that we also want to increase disposable income in the pockets of our farmers, not just for purposes of their own, economic development, but also to have disposable income to buy and acquire some of the foods that are not produced within the county. Secondly, is that when they are able to have also, resources in their pockets, then they are able to venture into better farming practices to ensure that within that small 1 acre land, you can increase productivity. So our engagement also with our farmers through the various programs run by the county and in conjunction with the various development partners is to increase productivity.
We are lucky as a county this year to host the World Food Day in Kenya, and we celebrate the World Food Day by celebrating communities, by celebrating the farmers who actually make it possible for us to eat every day.
Food is more than just a necessity. It is a fundamental human right. In Kenya, the right to food is recognized in the Constitution, but this right remains out of reach for too many families.
Majorly, when you talk about production, we want to look at what are the factors of production. If you take, for example, land, our population has grown 20-fold since independence. But what portion of land have we added into the space of Kenya? None. Instead, some of those areas that were really arable before some years back are no longer even edible because of climate change.
The Kenyan government has placed food security at the center of its development agenda. As part of the investing in production to smoothen consumption model, it is working to ensure that every Kenyan has access to affordable and nutritious foods.
And what the government has done is to make sure that farmers' cost of production is going down. We are subsidizing inputs like fertilizer, so that instead of buying at 6,000, they are buying now at 2,500. And that makes food production to go higher. And what has happened is that as the food production has gone higher, the cost of living, for instance, the cost of unga has come down significantly. And that makes sure that everybody who has want to buy unga can be able to access that food for himself or herself or for the family. Every citizen have a right to food, and not only food, but also nutritious food. So it stems from the Constitution. Two, it also comes to as a matter of livelihoods. Everybody, in order to survive in your livelihoods, you have to have food.
So Nandi County, to start with, is an agricultural county. We have made contributions to the national food basket in terms of the various value chains that we produce, starting from maize, getting to beans, vegetables, and cash crops like avocado and many others, even tea and coffee. We as a county government have organized our farmers as a way of ensuring that, one, we increase food production, the subsistence farming within our county, support the initiative of our farmers in terms of food production by increasing our agricultural extension services across the county, and two, organizing our farmers into farmer organizations, cooperative societies, so that then they can be able to synergize their efforts and ensure that they are able to get their farm inputs, certified seeds for the food production, but also organizing our farmers beyond the cooperative societies to circles for purposes of accessing affordable financing options for them to invest in food production.
However, food insecurity cannot be solved by policies alone. It requires action at every level, from national strategies to local communities, with support from different stakeholders. Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, works closely with the government and various stakeholders to ensure food security is achieved by developing ways of growing food that will work in the future so that millions of people don't go hungry.
In the country programming framework which we have today, we have 4 major program areas. The first program area deals with the agri-food systems, and that is where we are looking also into transformation of how we do our agriculture, especially in the wake of the challenges that we have, especially on matters production. There we are mirroring what FAO strategic framework has given through our Director General, which is looking at better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. Now, from that, we have another area which deals with the resilience building and climate change. Here is where we are talking about how do we build the resilience of our communities so that they are able to survive the vagaries of emergencies like droughts, floods, and the likes. But again, this is where we also try to do the interventions that are targeting matters of climate change, so matters of adaptation and mitigation. And then the third area is the area that deals with natural resource management and a sustainable environment conservation matters. Again, we have the fourth area that deals with the governance and social inclusion. You want to say that even if you're looking at the technical aspects of production, technical aspects of dealing with agriculture, you have to also have correct governance aspects in place. This is the only way that you can have the full cycle of attaining food and nutrition security.
Currently, over 800 million people worldwide are undernourished. The effects of climate change, urbanization, and industrial agriculture are making it harder for communities to access nutritious foods. The right to food is a fundamental human right, recognized by the United Nations. It means that everyone should have access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs. Yet, millions worldwide still face hunger and malnutrition.
I am deeply delighted.
World Food Programme, WFP, supports resilient food systems and help increase production and diversified livelihoods.
We are helping Kenya to serve itself, whether it's government officials at the county level or the national level, or maybe it is the private sector. So we're doing everything from helping to increase productivity, to increase marketing, to linking those farmers to markets. We're about growing more nutritious crops. We're about trying new value chains. Can we work on the fish value chain? You never would have thought about that in the World Food Programme in the past. Can we work on beekeeping? And that's something that's very productive, say in the arid and semi-arid regions where we do the most of our work and we find the most vulnerable population. So we're looking at it to do the same task, but in new ways, and implying and utilizing lots of innovation.
We have to recognize the fact that the climate is changing. Our farmers need to adapt to this changing context. You cannot be talking to communities on how to manage their natural resource management without providing them with an alternate form of livelihood. So this is what IFAD is doing. We are saying, okay, in order for you to stop going to the forest to cut down trees, let us provide you with some form of livelihood activity, something like a poultry management for the women, beekeeping for communities that live around the forest. But also we say we can also support communities to grow things like avocado that have a double impact in terms of providing food for communities, but also providing the tree cover that Kenya needs badly. But all of these things cannot be done without finance. So this is where IFAD comes in. We are an assembler of development finance. So we provide finance to countries, to governments, to ensure that they are able to support communities in food security. But we also work with communities, we work with banks to ensure that communities have the needed financial resources. Agriculture is an expensive business. And if you want farmers to be able to produce more, if you want farmers to be able to have the required space in the market, you need to provide them with finances. So this is what IFAD does. In our rural finance project, we are really working with banks to de-risk loans. Kenya is advanced when it comes to financial management of financial resources, but the amount of money going to the agricultural sector is just around 4%. So just think about it, 4% to farmers. We really need to ensure that we have money in the hands of the farmers so that they can expand on their productivity, have access to markets, and be able to really ensure that we have food security for all.
You know, with the shocks we've seen in Kenya lately, worst drought in 40 years, huge droughts that have taken over, washed away roads, washed away livestock, washed away farms. It's so clear that climate change is with us and is here to stay. And the saddest part about it is the population that has done the least to cause climate change is the most severely affected by it. And really, what we need to do and the lens that we're looking through in order to help smallholder farmers is how do we mitigate the impact of climate change on their lives. So what is it that we can do? Everything from where do we build a bridge? Where do we focus agricultural production? What crops do we grow? What seeds do we use? Everything we're doing is focused on making sure that we've thought about climate change first and that everything we do helps to mitigate its impact on what is already a vulnerable population.
So, how do we ensure that everyone has access to safe, nutritious food? The answer lies in agroecology, a sustainable approach to food production that respects the environment, supports biodiversity, and empowers local communities.
As we celebrate this year's World Food Day, whose theme is Right to Food for a Better Life and a Better Future, we need to take stock of the fact that 800 million people globally are facing hunger. They cannot access food. They cannot access nutritious food. We also need to take stock here in Kenya that 40% of Kenyans are facing food scarcity. They cannot afford food, they cannot access nutritious food. And actually, 30% are children under 5 years who are facing chronic malnutrition. In Biovision Africa Trust, we have one of the initiatives, continental initiatives that we have been implementing under the auspices of Africa Union Commission for over 10 years now. And it is an initiative that promotes agroecological practices that come in to promote sustainability and resilience of our agri-food systems. And basically, agroecology is not a new word. It has been with us for a while, and it is one of the practices that actually promotes agriculture, farming with nature. And when we say agriculture, farming with nature, we mean that farmers need to be supported by our governments, farmers need to be capacitated to practice the simple farming practices like crop rotation, mixed cropping, companion cropping, zero tillage, mulching, compost manure, and such practices that are actually improve the resilience of our natural systems. So basically, this is my message during this World Food Day, that we need to promote agroecology practices. We need to develop policies that promote agroecology practices, because these are practices that enhance resilience and sustainability of our agri-food systems. And when we do that, we'll be able to feed our populations and address food scarcity.
But also we need to teach people that the health of environment will translate into healthy animals and healthy human beings. So all of us must have one health, not only for the human being, but also look at the health of the entire environment you are operating in, including the agroecology we are looking at now, the water, the clean water, the soil also, healthy soil, healthy, making sure that you integrate issues of agroforestry, healthy climate, you are not polluting the environment. It is in your interest to ensure that there is one health for everything.
Agroecology promotes the right to food by supporting local food systems. When communities grow their own food, they take charge of their health and their future. Biovision Africa Trust plays a crucial role in supporting sustainable farming practices.
Our vision as an organization is a food-secure continent with people living in a healthy environment. We focus on working with farmers to support them, to get information that is useful for them to produce for us food in a very healthy way. We train farmers, and we also link these farmers to markets so that if they produce enough, they can have the extra sold to the markets. We work very closely with researchers to enable that the information that comes from research and the information that also comes from some of the very good farmers who have great new ideas that can contribute to increased and better food production to get to as many farmers as possible. We believe that farmers are very important to our food system in this country. Without farmers, we can't be who we are. And this is again a very important obligation that farmers contribute to. As one great agronomist, an American, said, food is a moral right to all who are born into this world. That is what Norman Bullock said. And for us, Biovision Africa Trust, we are living towards that ideal to ensure that food is a moral right to all the farmers. And we want farmers to continue producing in the most healthy way to ensure that we are fed in a more nutritious way than it has been before, because we want to ensure going into the future, we are people that are healthy, we are people that depend on food more and depend very less on medicines. And that is why I would say farmers are great change makers to enable us to make food to be our medicine and not medicine to be our food.
Agroecology not only enhances food security, but also strengthens local economies, promotes social equity, and helps combat climate change.
We also work towards ensuring that we have an enabling environment where policies and strategies are available, and we are grateful that we work very closely also with our government, and that's to say policy becomes a very important issue. Now, in our program of ecological organic agriculture, we have a very important focus on policy. We want to see how do we develop policies, and especially policies that contribute towards sustainable agriculture. In general, that is saying, let's have agriculture that can not only increase production, but also we make sure that our soil is still kept healthy. Soil health is very important for us. And reliance on chemical inputs may not be the best way to go for the future. We want to see how do we increase production using healthy soils. And that means we need to promote practices and technologies that enrich the soil, provide fertility to the soil, and help us to limit relying on chemical inputs. You saw very recently when we are challenged by some of the global forces around, fertilizers, if we rely on them a lot, chemical fertilizers that is, it becomes a big challenge when we can't access them. And also it's been shown that our agriculture can perform better if we manage to tap into ecological or organic resources that we can use in our farming system. So our programs, therefore, the three of them, the Farmer Communication Program, the Ecological Organic Agriculture Initiative, the Knowledge Center for Organic Agriculture, and very lately we have another important program that has very important components that ensure we actually do farming with nature so that we don't destroy our nature, and that is Agroecology Promotion Program. Today, as we speak, everyone is concerned on how do we increase production while keeping our environment safe, while ensuring that our soils are still productive, are still healthy to sustain production for us today, and also to ensure that our soils are still productive for even into the future, for our future generations.
When we support local farmers and sustainable practices, we are investing in our future.
Totally, how much of the arable land is on organic agriculture versus what is on conventional agriculture. So that's very crucial. Then also we are looking at organic fertilizer use. A lot of questions are coming around in terms of countries are investing so much in fertilizer subsidies, and by this I'm talking about chemical fertilizers, but productivity is still declining. So the question has been, what is the reason? Because we need to increase productivity. When you look at it from a layman's language, even technically, when you use fertilizer, when you increase fertilizer use, we expect more productivity. But it's been declining, and a lot of investments have gone into that. So we had this African Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit in Nairobi, and there was a Nairobi Declaration, and right now we have a Soil Initiative Africa framework which is being worked on. And it's about very important questions on soil health. What is it that is not working? And organic agriculture, agroecology is one of the key pathways that have been identified to remedy that. And the third decade of CAADP is also looking at how we can revolutionize agriculture. So we would like to look at what have we learned from the 20 years, from the two previous decades, and then move into the next decade. And this is where African Union has shown a lot of commitment in supporting the EOA Initiative Secretariat to at least bring on board the lessons that we have learned from our implementation of this decision, also factoring in the way things are changing. We have a lot of issues around resilience, building, and as we know, Agroecology is part of that. We also have a lot of issues around safety of food, safe food. We are seeing a lot of rise in terms of non-communicable diseases, popularly known as NCDs, and food safety has been attributed to some extent to such kind of diseases.
Across the country, local communities are coming together to solve the food crisis. In Nandi County, farmers are taking matters into their own hands. Women and youths are playing a crucial role in securing Nandi County's food future.
I agree in that the holders of our food chain are women, and that's the core of our practices here in Kaimosi. When we introduce, for example, the black soldier fly, these are the utilization of this comes from the waste of food that has been in the kitchen, and the people who really we train more on that is the women, so that they may be able to utilize the waste food from their kitchen or prepare the larvas, and they can feed their poultry. And on that, we encourage more women to come and learn on how to utilize that. Also, we have the kitchen garden. We have introduced a lot in the technology of kitchen garden, from doing the pangas, from doing the straps, from doing the hanging bags, so that with every little simple space they have in their household, they may be able to produce food.
Women are at the forefront of smallholder farming, and youths are bringing innovation and energy to the agricultural sector.
I want to encourage you that poultry is not an expensive venture. It just needs time. It needs a bit of skill and information, and it is an alternative because from the practice itself, you can make profit, you can self-employ yourself.
The reason why we have Kaimosi as a research center is because we wanted on an element where we can attract the youth. We realized that the 21st century youth, these are educated youth who have wild dreams. They want to experiment their thoughts, their thinking on farming.
Poultry farming is a source of nutrition and income for many families in Nandi County.
So can we train them also to know that we are doing all this so that it can give us animal protein, which is very key to our children, very key to our women, especially those who are having babies, those who are pregnant. If they get an egg every day or alternate days, they go strong. It builds their brains also. It gives them energy. Can we have that capacity building to them that we need it on the table as much as we need it in the market or into our pockets?
Poultry cooperatives play a crucial role in improving the livelihoods of farmers by offering collective bargaining power, access to better markets, and reduced costs for inputs such as feed and vaccines.
Been a number of challenges, and the first one was market, or the biggest then was market, which sometimes we are exploited, because if you stand individually, the brokers and middlemen will always find the farmer very vulnerable. Then secondly, there is some level of market that would need bigger production. So you cannot do it at that smallholder farm level. So you need a number of farmers into some organizational structure so that you can trigger now those volume of production to be able to access those markets. So those were I could say that was the key driving factor. Then came other issues, mostly when it comes to cost of production. As a smallholder farmer, if you are doing it on your own, you don't have a bargaining power, especially within the supply chain, input supplies, be it feeds, which is the most expensive. Sometimes there is some level of animal drugs and vaccines that can only be accessed when you have certain size of flock. And then eventually, in terms to address the policy issue, Sometimes we don't have a voice as poultry farmers because we have never aggregated into a farmer-producer organization. So this one presented a chance for us as poultry farmers to face organizations and even government and institutions, even banks, so that we can have a bargaining power.
By working together, members can share knowledge on best practices, boost productivity, and improve the quality of the poultry. Dairy farming is a cornerstone of Nandi County's agricultural landscape.
In this farm, we use silage mainly to feed our cows. We also use napier grass, we use bomber rods, and we also use leftover maize stalks, which we crush. So we feed the napier fresh from the farm after wilting a bit. We preserve our food in the form of silage, and it can take us up to 2 years.
Cooperatives play a vital role in supporting smallholder farmers.
The services that we give farmers in the field are mostly in fodder management. We do demonstrations in the farm. We make sure the farmers have enough feeds that they use in their farms. And also, we always work with our farmers doing profit and loss. We make sure they understand whether they are making profits in their farms or they are making loss.
When you are in a cooperative, you attract many investors who come in board and support you. Like Lesos, we've partnered with many partners who have invested with us and supported us in many various ways. Like Turkish government, we've had Ireland, the Embassy of Ireland. We've had the likes of Ava International. We've had the national government and county government through projects like NARIC, NAPCPD supporting us. There's a lot to gain when you are in a cooperative. Right from marketing your products, making sure that you get good prices, making sure that you are not left behind in terms of technology, in terms of new fodder crops which are coming.
Tea farming is another significant sector in Nandi County.
We are also continuing doing other things like diversifying so that our farmers are not only doing tea, but we're also doing coffee. Same time, we are trying also to see that in our diversification, we would want to have our farmers have the avocados, which we have also. We're trying to put up avocado of 500,000. It can be for we are thinking of our ladies, our mamas, our women. What is it that they can do in farming?
Tea cooperatives provide farmers with better market access, ensuring fair prices for their produce. They also reduce input costs by purchasing inputs in bulk, offer financial support, technical training, and improve farmers' bargaining power, fostering sustainability and higher income in the tea industry.
The farmers coming together actually is to assist one another from whatever problems, economics and whatever economic problems that we have. Like now when we have the circles, because we have about 4 circles around here, the farmers donate every month whatever they get from the tea proceeds, and they get the loans to assist their children pay their school fees. So that is what has assisted us, and even assist the same farmers buy shares from the group that we have, like buying cigarette. The farmers had to pay every month like a check-off system of about 1 shilling for every kilo of tea. So that coming together has brought together all these farmers to buy cigarette tea estate, which they are owning now 100% of cigarette. And they have continued also coming together to put up a factory at Kamarich, known as Kamarich Tea Factory.
We want to advise our farmers that let us aggregate. One of the major challenges that we are facing in our country today is that farmers still want to work individually. It is very difficult for you to it is very difficult for you to succeed in the farming sector if you want to work as an individual. We must be able to support efforts that bring together farmers, either through cooperative societies, farmers groups, and circles for purposes of synergy, so that we can be able to move together as a team.
Avocado farming is a rapidly growing sector in Nandi County.
Mimi katika hii safari ya kilimo nimetoka mbali kidogo katika kilimo mimea mbalimbali. Hivi punde nikapata kujua kwamba avocado ni mimea ambayo inafanya vyema hapa Nandi na inatoa mapato na mazao ya kutosha kushughulikia vyakula na hasa pia mahitaji ya fedha, kwa sababu hii mimea kawacha inakulwa nchini pia inauzwa katika nchi za nje. So kubadilisha dola ni muhimu sana katika biashara ya kilimo. Nafanya parachichi kama kilimo biashara. Hapo tumepanda mahindi awali, tumepanda mimea mingine kama chai, lakini hivi sasa tunaona avocado inafanya mambo mengi. Ni chakula ambayo iko na chakula iliyohitajika katika miili yetu. Very rich in nutrition. Na pia iko na nguvu, iko na fiber ambayo inahitajika katika miili, iko na vitamins na proteini. So tumeona kwamba hii mimea inakuwa whole, inakuwa nzuri kwa afya ya binadamu. Na pia tunaona kwamba hii inapendwa na wale, kuna soko kule nje. Tunapata, tunaita dola mashinani sasa. Hii mimea tunaita dola mashinani, ambayo inafanya vizuri sana katika tunapatilisha maisha yetu kiuchumi, kwa sababu karo inakuwa rahisi sana, na pia management yake sio kazi ngumu. Hii mimea pia unaweza kuintercrop na other crops kama maharagwe, unaweza panda mboga za kienyeji na unapata vyakula pale, na pia unapata pesa kutoka kwa ile chakula.
Coffee is another key agricultural export from Nandi County.
Coffee kuna manufaa mingi. Kwa mfano, ya kwanza kabisa ina create employment. Wale watu mnakaa nao karibu wanapata job kila wakati. Unajua katika ukulima wa kahawa kuna calendar from January to December. Hakuna wakati utakaa bila kazi. Each and every now kuna kazi. So area wenye wanaishi karibu nawe watapata kazi. Ya pili, kuna manufaa. Mimi mwenyewe nitapata after kutoa hiyo vitu yote yenye nimetumia, kuna pesa yangu itapaki kidogo. Yani kazi ya coffee itanisaidia nisomesha watoto, niendelee na maendeleo mengine. Haya, pale ndani tena tumepanda maneno ya miti krifelia. Hiyo inatusaidia kwa jamii kwa mambo ya kuni na tuseme na frames, hiyo mbao. Alafu inatusaidia kuchunga mmomonyoko wa udongo. Hakutakuwa na erosion kwa ile shamba yako. Kumaanisha ukiwa na shamba eka moja, ile rutuba yenye utakuwa unapata pale haitachukuliwa na maji. Itakuwa ina retain, bora umefanya nini? Umeunda terraces.
Coffee cooperatives play a vital role in supporting Nandi County coffee farmers.
Ukiangalia hii society walianzisha kwanza in 1981, na ukiangalia ile faida wakulima wamekuwa nayo imekuwa mingi sana. Ya kwanza ni kwamba iko karibu na wakulima. So mkulima tu akipata kahawa, tuseme kama ameanza kulima kahawa, analeta tu direct kwa society. So mambo ya transport itakuwa imekuwa reduced. Hasa wakati huu ambao tumeanzisha branches mingi. Tuko na moja Kaborokin, tuko na nyingine Kabuso. Na hiyo imepatia motisha kabisa wakulima ya kwamba waweze kulima kahawa, kwa sababu already kuna mahali wanachukua, na pia kuna market yao sio mbaya. For the last 10 years hatujakuja chini ya shilingi 50 kwa kilo. So hiyo inamaanisha kwamba at least kuna vile mkulima anaangalia kwamba kama hatukuji chini ya 50, which means bado kuna faida kwa kahawa. Lakini bado tunaomba pia serikali at least waangalie mambo ya production kwa sababu hiyo ndio itasaidia mkulima kuwe na faida mingi. Sana sana tunaongelea juu ya marketing, lakini ile faida ambayo mkulima ndio apate kabisa ni kupunguza ni kureduce the cost of production ambayo inatumika shambani. Hiyo ni kama mambo ya farm inputs, kuna mambo ya herbicides na mambo ya fungicides.
Fish farming in Kenya is vital for food security, providing a sustainable source of protein to meet the country's growing demand.
Nahakikisha samaki mafish yenye na produce hapa ni natural, in an organic way, sababu on what I practice mostly. Vile nimewaambia kwamba I use my homemade feeds. Nunui pale kwa duka, nanunua tu my ingredients na kuja mix hapa. Because if you buy chakula pale kwa duka, wanaziweka a lot of minerals ambazo ziko na, they may be having some interference kwa mwili. Yeah, and then also this fish of mine, once it produces or their waste, saa zile nabadilisha maji, I use the used water, nazi irrigate kwa shamba. Like hapa tuko na sukuma, so ile maji yenye huwa tunamwaga tukiosha fish pond ndio tunamwagia kwa shamba. So in that way you are also doing recirculation.
Kulingana na chakula yenye nawalisha hawa samaki, inafanywa wanakula organic. Hiyo organic ni matawi ya ndoma, kuna matawi ya sukuma, na ile ndoma tena ile masao yake, ile tunaita root yake ni chakula yao tena ya samaki. So hawatumii chakula yenye mimi nanunua. Formulation yangu nafanya peke yangu kama mkulima.
It generates income for farmers, creates employment opportunities, and reduces pressure on wild fish stocks. Fish farming also promotes rural development and boosts the local economy through exports.
Juu saisi nimefikisha fish pond 8, nikiharvest fish pond moja saizi. Fish pond moja kulingana na hii size vile mnaona ni around 4x6 moja. Sasa hiyo nafanya storage ya samaki 1000 hiyo 1000 samaki wenye wako ndani. Alafu maturity yake ile kutoshea kuuzwa wanamaliza mwezi 9. Hiyo mwezi 9 nikifanya harvesting every fish bone, tufanyie example fish bone moja saizi inanitolea samaki 1000 times 200 shillings. Hiyo 1000 times 200 inanitolea 200,000. Hiyo 200 imenifanya nimeajiri watu wengine hapa kunifanyia kazi kwa hiyo pesa. So circulation, nimefanya ikuwe circulation na make sure saizi karibu ijaa hiyo fish pond 12 so that I will be harvesting every month. Ndio inipe ile continuous harvesting. So fish pond moja inanitolea 200,000 times 6. Hiyo ni estimate ya pesa ngapi? 1.2. Ambapo ya kwamba imenifanya saizi nafanya extension ya fish pond, hiyo pesa natumia. Alafu tena inanisaidia kusomesha watoto. Pia kupanua ardhi for the continuous production of fish.
Farmers' access to markets is essential for improving income, reducing post-harvest losses, and ensuring fair prices for produce. It encourages sustainable farming practices, fosters innovation, and connects farmers with consumers. Efficient market access also boosts rural economies and promotes food security, as well as improves living standards for rural communities.
The other very important component is that the venue of our World Food Day is Kaimosi. We have a program to modernize our Kaimosi farmers training, agricultural training facility to introduce new programs, specifically targeting farmers in terms of building their capacity, in terms of training them on new farming technologies, and that center will support our technological transfer to our farmers. you will be able to look at the facility and realize that we want to do an aggressive modernization, do short-term courses and programs targeting farmers, so that then when you go there and you want to learn how to do improved dairy farming, you can be able to look at the farm in Kaimosi and be able to learn that, whether it is coffee production, whether it is tea production, whether it is banana production, and all the other value chains. For us, this facility goes a long way in creating a platform for us to build and enhance the capacity of our farmers towards production.
So Kaimosi Agricultural and Farmers Training Center is an institution that has been managed by the county government of Nandi, and its mandate is to primarily look at the training of farmers. And here we are talking about the small-scale farmers, which are 80% of the farmers we have in Kenya. So our main mandate here is to train those farmers, to give them the skills and the new technologies which are coming on the field for the farmers to go and implement in their farms. So these are the things which basically we are looking at how farmers will improve their production, their husbandry, and finally how they can assess the market.
This World Food Day, let's stand together to promote sustainable practices for a better life and a better future.
We've been training farmers to adopt the agroecology, and with our agroecological service providers, providing the sustainable farming practices to our farmers, they get high productivity, they get profit. Now with high productivity, we get to get food that can sustain us and food that we can also sell to earn income.
As we look to the future, the vision is clear. A Kenya where no child is hungry, where every family can enjoy the bounty of our land, and where food security is not just a dream, but a reality.